Welcome, it's the Frontline on NBS. I'm Simon Kagwanjala. Well, the president spoke to the nation in line with Article 101, subsection 1 of the Constitution, that gives him the mandate to speak to the nation, account, and also show the direction the country will be taking. Tonight, we'll be looking beyond the obligation and unpack the key highlights, the hits, the misses, and the signals. Did the president really speak to the nation, or did he speak to the reality of the state of affairs of the country? Joining me tonight is Honorable Moses Atan, Member of Parliament, Soroti City East, together with Honorable Paul Mwiru, Member of Parliament, Jinja City East, and the Chief Whip of the opposition in Parliament. We have our frontliner, Honorable Ofono Opondo, Member of Parliament for Older Persons from the Eastern Region, and our frontliner, East.
For Eastern Region.
For East, yes, noted. Well, and we also have Honorable Semujju Nganda, former Member of Parliament, Kira Municipality, and our frontliner. Good to have you all, and a very good evening.
Thank you.
Well, there are quite a number of remarkable things. We would actually start with the no-show and the showing up of the opposition. What exactly happened? How come you boycotted and then your colleagues stand up? I'll start with you, Honorable.
Well, thank you. Of course, as the opposition, we always caucus about matters as they arise, and the State of Nation address was bound to happen. I engaged the whips of the various political parties, and there seemed to be a divided opinion about the same. And of course, later we came to a conclusion that is optional. Others thought that as even as we talk, President Museveni boasts of having won the election with 71%, has failed to produce a result as mandated by the law for each and every polling station. Therefore, it would be fallacious to appear at, and then he speaks as head of state, yet there are no results as the law commands. That was one of the issues for those who thought that way. There were also those who thought that actually there are human rights issues in this country. They are prisoners of conscience up to today. There is no any direction that actually the prisoners of conscience will ever see justice at the end of the day. Then those also thought they should not actually attend. Yet there were also those who are saying that, look, we are new to Parliament. Let's come to Parliament. Maybe we need to get a feel of the state of nation, what will actually happen. And there are those who also even predicted that actually there's nothing new. President is going to say, he's going to talk about Dr. Basangwa in Kamuli, he's going to talk about those usual things he normally says, but he's not going to address the real issues. So we said, okay, for purposes of accommodating everybody, we said let it be optional.
So how impactful was your no-show?
Well, it is up to, because for us, we took that decision. We are yet to evaluate. But from the gathering, because it is bothering you now in the media, it is bothering some of our colleagues, I think that might be the impact. But in as far as we are concerned, we have to get back and evaluate. Because we thought taking one stand, you don't take a decision you will not enforce. Because, you know, even as you saw when we appeared in Kololo, the president was busy saying, I'm working with some people, these ones are like this. So we did not take a decision from the start, which we will not enforce. At least we have been closing the gap amongst us, so that when something happens, we invite them for an input. So what has happened, like my brother Honorable Batane turning up in Kololo, he committed no offense. Because we told them, please follow your heart. If you think you must, then also the issue, I think, of communication. because we talked to his whip, the whip of FDC, as to how they were in touch. So it was about the individual position.
So you've started on a note of a divided opposition.
No.
From the onset.
Actually, there's no division, because even the decision, people to follow their hearts in respect of that matter, was the agreed decision that we agreed to that position.
Do you realize how tired the tactic or strategy of boycotts has become?
Actually, as far as we are concerned, it would have been different if we took a decision and people went and then attended. But we had a discussion and took that decision.
So there was no official position on whether to attend?
The official position was that decision.
What was the decision?
The decision was that it is optional. Those who want to attend can go, because one, there was the background to why individuals wanted to go and attend. And those also who thought they should not attend also had their reasons.
Is the opposition that casual?
No, actually it was not. It would have been casual if someone just called, but there was engagement of all the stakeholders. And actually there are valid reasons, which for us, for instance, we said, like those who said, okay, nothing is going to change. They predicted that President Museveni will be talking about, like before you talk about the fruit factory, like one was saying that if Museveni was going to do a showcase of Atiak, Amina, where they have been giving billions, the President Banana Initiative, the Magol, all the money where the money has been going, like, this is what we have done, this is the impact. Maybe it would have made sense. And also respected their views.
Oh, Honorable Atan, the leading opposition party, National Inter-Platform, had its MPs boycott. You turned up. What does this suggest?
Thank you, my brother. You've just heard from the chief opposition whip that there was no boycott. And it's on record, and I will agree with him that it was decided you will attend. Those who wish not to attend can stay away. And to me, reading the Constitution, reading the rules of procedure, this was a sitting of Parliament, and the sitting of Parliament elected by the people of Soroti East Division in Soroti City. I was sent to represent them, and representation meant that I be in the sitting of today. And that is effectively what I undertook. And I always tell myself, I may disagree with somebody, but I love to listen to the party I disagree with. And by virtue of the fact that I took oath, we took oath, we have constituted leadership in Parliament. We have the opposition and the ruling side. The position I realized and came to a conclusion is that we have agreed the prevailing environment, and certain issues that were coming through the colleagues, to me, I saw them as overtaken by events. I was in an election which was nasty in 2022, but after my brother Honorable Bariko took oath and the processes of the petition, the Court of Appeal ruling, I had to move on. So in this aspect, I weighed the position of the people of Soroti East Division and the constitutional obligation that I undertook to defend, that Article 101, Subclause 1, grants the President to be present in the House and address us. And I felt that from that background, it was inevitable for me to listen.
Yeah, but I see a sense of betrayal. The opposition chief whip has clearly stated the reasons. The issue of a contested election, the issue of missing persons, the question of human rights. Were you alive to these issues?
Fundamentally alive to the issues, and these issues are not new. I've been in opposition from 2001. And from the era when Dr. Kizza Besigye contested, we had issues with elections. But that did not stop the legislators to undertake their duty after taking oath. And alive to the realities of the day, I know that we have had historical events. For instance, stopping slave trade in Britain. The whole of the British Empire depended on slave trade. But 2 members of parliament stood up and said this is wrong. But then they did not run away from parliament, and they took the front to even move to the constituencies of the colleagues and mobilize signatures.
What I get from you is that it is very unlikely that you will ever step out of parliament.
I don't say never in most circumstances. I always believe that if we are going to undertake a clear direction or course of action, it must be clearly aligned with the understanding of all of us. You heard from my opposition chief whip that there was no clear position. And what I know that in the discussion, members were saying, why are we having go, not go? And let me ask the question. Did we have a sitting of parliament? Are we mandated to attend parliament? Do taxpayers pay us to attend parliament? Are we elected to attend parliament? I'll say yes. Then, what did Atan do today? And not only Atan, the opposition from the FDC, I was present. The woman MP of Amuru, Akelo Lusu, was present. Muzaidi from Arua was present. Honorable Fungaro Caps from Bongi was present. What we realize and recognize is that we are honoring a sitting of parliament. The only challenge we have is the colleagues leading the opposition saying the presence of the president. But again, we were in parliament in the first sitting in Kololo, and the colleagues leading the opposition were in attendance. And my chief whip then was a candidate offered to contest. And before us, President Museveni was in attendance.
So is it intellectual dishonesty?
No, that beat my understanding. And that's why I arrived at a conclusion. If President Museveni, being present in parliament by the law and by the rules of procedure, and we attended the first sitting when he was present, and today we are saying no or go, I opted to go.
Thank you. What's your take on the boycott by a section of the opposition?
Well, first of all, let me just say, all these 3 colleagues of mine, you know, they once belonged to one party, to FDC. Our viewers need to know that.
They still belong there.
Yeah, I said once. Now on the show, it's not Latan, only Batan who's in FDC on this show. Muro has since moved twice or 3 times. He went to Ant
and now Noob.
And went to Noob. That reflects the content in him.
That's a personal choice, isn't it?
Yeah. That's the content I'm talking about, his choice. Honorable Semujju has moved once. He's now in the PFF, where he's the spokesperson and so on. They have 2 members of parliament. That shows you that a number of people in the opposition are up to no good. And their own members, supporters in the country, in my view, are removing or downgrading the trust in the opposition, particularly where Honorable Muro now sits. You heard his opening remarks. We had election where there are no results. They have not published. Is the Honorable Muro saying he's in parliament without being gazetted? Is he? Is that what is the meaning, that he's in parliament without being gazetted? To the best of my knowledge, you can't be sworn in if you're not gazetted. And therefore, you cannot be gazetted if there are no results. So Honorable Muro is being dishonest, not just intellectually, but by body. And I'm glad with what Honorable Batan said. President Museveni convened for the sitting that elected the speaker. Honorable Mwero was a candidate, was the official candidate of his party. Nope. Why didn't he stay away? If the problem is Museveni being in the House, as Attorney said, by the Constitution, by the rules of procedure of the House, it would be a different thing, especially if you say you respect the rule of law. If the President was in Parliament without those two instruments, the Constitution and the rules of procedure, I would support his boycott. But I think they are in some theater. Clearly, NUP was reduced from 57 members of Parliament to the current 46. I think even if they were there, their numerical consequence, perhaps they have judged, and maybe they have no issues to raise. But Parliament is actually the place to raise those issues. So, I think...
So you want to suggest that what he suggests, what he fronts as key issues, human rights, disputed election, that they don't hold water?
They hold water to the extent that some of the issues are factual. But they don't hold water to the extent that there are going to be hundreds of sittings of Parliament where people with those concerns can raise them. There are also other avenues like this one now where you can raise. He does not have to boycott. So that's why the boycott Parliament, in order for him to be heard, or in order for those issues to be resolved.
So was it for me attention seeking?
Yes, attention seeking. And that's why I'm saying he was on the theater. He was playing. They were playing theatrical. Because again, in his own argument, Honorable Mwero says that see their colleagues who are new in the Parliament, and they loved to come and see how is Parliament, how is the state of the nation, how is. He was referring to other members of the opposition, perhaps even NRM, with the new people. I would love to enjoy, even if the President was going to repeat himself, like, please repeat the sermons. I would want to go to the cathedral at Rubaga, Nambirembe, and hear, if there is a new priest, for example, how does he approach issues? Are there no new members of NUP who would want to have a feel of the state of the nation, or who would want to see the President repeating himself? If the President actually
NUP was unanimous.
And this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. And that's why I'm concluding with this. I think it points to the lack of trust, lack of leadership, of NUP generally, but of the chief opposition whip, meaning he has no capacity. He didn't have the persuasion to convince the broader opposition that the direction NUP is taking in leading them the first few weeks of the first few sittings, actually the second sitting of Parliament, that they can offer leadership with good direction. It is actually a vote of no confidence. If, as he says, they actually convened a meeting and consulted, they laid to them the reasons why they should not be in the House. And the other opposition people, UPC was there, I saw them, including the President of UPC, Honorable Kena. DIP was there, I saw their President General, who is a ministerial nominee and a former contestant with him for speakership, Honorable Mao. I saw DP was there. I saw independents, some of whom I know are opposition. They don't lean towards NRM. They were there. So I think it speaks to the lack of trust, lack of confidence. Honorable Mwero, as the chief opposition whip, is offering in these few days. Parliament has been in excess.
Thank you, Honorable Semujju. You've at least participated in boycotts in Parliament. What do you make of this particular boycott by the NUP, while other legislators from other political shades stand up?
First of all, there is nothing new. I sympathize with Honorable Mwero. Because parliament by its nature, you are leading people who are almost independent of each other, and they are going to take contradictory decisions all the time. We opposed the deployment of Ugandan soldiers in South Sudan. When the motion came, the Honorable Oranya Gilbert was a second. At that time, I think I was a whip of FDC. I was very bitter. He had defied me. I nearly removed him from a committee.
You have the powers.
You can be defied even by your own MPs. You've seen NRM MPs defying NRM and they are called rebel MPs. MPs are not simple people. When General Muntu walked to me proposing to appoint me chief opposition whip, I declined. I told him MPs have no discipline. I'm not going to be their supervisor. And he told me, Semujju, we are training you to be a leader and you will not choose how. Okay, I said, okay, now I surrender. But I had declined. Because we pursue different things. So you can have MPs from your own party defying you. You can also have MPs from other parties defying you.
How ordinarily do you reach a position of boycott?
No, I don't want to lose the background before I come to answer that. First, there is no party in the parliament called opposition. There is a constitutional group called the party in opposition, and that is no at the moment. The rest of the colleagues, you can work with them when they won. As chief opposition whip, one time I was reading names of opposition MPs to committees. When it came to UPC, NRM was reading UPC, I was reading UPC. So some UPC went to sit with NRM, some UPC sat with us. And
now someone is a minister, come to, I need an office.
So when I queried the Honorable Lady Oranya said that matter can be only be resolved by court. So you will have that in Parliament, but also it is possible that on some matters you will agree, on some matters you may disagree. It's also normal that you may have colleagues attending Parliament when there is a boycott.
Yeah, but here they are disagreeing from the onset. Even
in boycotts that we have sat down and agreed, in the past you have had some colleagues attending. So for me it is normal. It is normal. And the Honorable Miru has told you, the agreement was that everybody exercises his own right.
Do you find that normal? I thought there is always cohesion. You arrive at a position.
If you are running a military. But in politics, people will defy you. I mean, you had a rebel MPs at one time. The speaker even created a sitting space for them in the middle. They were NRM. And it happens everywhere. Just 2 nights ago, last night, in America, the Republicans were taking a vote on the war powers. And some Republicans voted with the Democrats to stop Trump from launching further attacks in Iran. And they said, it's my conscience, I'm following my conscience. So here, it's normal in politics and it will happen in every jurisdiction.
But you would imagine that the opposition starts on a united note.
But on the speaker, they were united. They had the Honorable Muyo.
Even on this one, we are united.
We are united.
Even on this one, we are
so
united.
I really don't see anything big in it that you have. The only problem from what my brother Atana has said, it is a matter that has been troubling us for a very long time as opposition. Every after election, you will have a discussion. Do you participate in the government or you don't? If you participate, you are now validating elections. Legitimizing. You stay away. You will have those voices from our supporters. In one of the meetings we had in FDC, Dr. Wesje said, if we had won, would you have attended? He said, okay, this territory we have won. Please go and defend it as we continue fighting for the others. So the legitimate to those who have won elections, he said, you can go and attend Parliament. But the general feeling is that among supporters, boycott, don't go to Parliament. your going has the effect of legitimizing. At a personal level, I had said I will not go and attend functions where Museveni is because of restrictions. In the past, they used to tell MPs to go and test COVID.
Yeah, we still do.
They would say at one time, you don't carry your phones. I don't know if that has changed.
In Parliament, the three times, twice now I've been there, we have had our phones.
So I had said, and I didn't want to propose it to anyone, that those functions of Museveni, they take you with a bus. There was time I wanted to leave Kololo, but they said you will go by bus. I had to walk. First of all, he has closed the roads. You can't come with your car. It's as if you were in a military campaign. So he said, no, me as Semujju, I am not attending. But I didn't want to impose it on others who wanted to attend, even when I was a leader. But also,
should positions on something as critical as whether to attend or boycott be made in such a lackluster manner?
A boycott is a form of protest, disapproval. There has never been a protest in Uganda where everybody participates, whether you are on the street, whether you are where. So you, Njara, you want to treat MPs like robots that when they announce going or not going, everybody will abide. It's not possible. I have participated. One time we agreed we are going to meet at radio grounds. The UPC people are watching us through their window. Yet we had a meeting with them and said we will be at a radio grounds and then we will march from there. And they have you arrived? I was there with the rest.
Yeah, but during your times, the boycotts were massive. You'd see big numbers staying away.
But he has told you the agreement was those who want to go can go, those who want to stay away can stay away. And I don't see any problem. But you want to make it such a huge problem. That's a decision they took.
Do you see the opposition in sort of a dilemma on whether they need to take firm decisions, especially when it regards meeting the president?
You want a corrective binding decision, but you are different entities. The Honorable Muiru is a chief opposition whip because of the appointment by his party. By law, he is not the whip of everybody, by law. But by the operations of parliament, he becomes the leader of all. You cannot say that he will caucus and invite everybody and then everybody will have to abide by. Even when you sit in a meeting, I am telling you, even when you sit in a meeting, you will walk out and some MPs are already quarreling with the outcome of a meeting in which they have participated. It is normal in parliament, even normal outside parliament.
Well, let's now get to the thrust of our discussion. How would you unpack the President's State of the Nation address? I'll start with you.
Maybe before, I wanted to correct the notion. You have put the narrative to say as if there was a disagreement. I want for the record to say that there was no disagreement. The agreement was that, okay, it is optional. And for you to say that actually, you see, you can't dismiss it because
optional cannot be a decision.
We are now discussing it here. You understand? That means it's not a simple thing. Then to my brother, Honorable O.O., the Presidential Elections Act creates a duty on the Electoral Commission to gazette results for every polling station in the country. You don't just announce a block figure and then that's the end. They did not do that. We have been demanding for that because we have data forms from some other areas. We want to know how did they arrive at the 71. That's one. Two, for instance, I'll give an example. There is the politics, as Honorable Semujju has said. There are whips of other political parties. When Honorable Mao was appointed in Honorable Santa room, the members of whips had become and told me, don't give them office. They have now in the government, them got get office from NRM. But I knew that was a simple thing which would cause a problem. I said, they are members of parliament. I'm going to use my powers as a whip to allocate them their constituency offices. If they are tomorrow discarded by then, they'll go back to their office. But imagine if because I picked that small thing and put it at the center. Even now, as we talk now, I can comfortably talk to all the whips of other political parties because there was a position. That's why we have no issue with the Honorable Atan I don't want to delve into the other arguments he has advanced, but I want to conclude by saying that there are only two powers, the state power and the people power. I've been telling my members of the opposition that the state does not need you. You understand? They have the numbers. So it is you to determine how you want to actually move. I thank you.
So let's unpack the president.
The president's speech,
which you never
yes,
attended.
but I was following very keenly for reasons that we have to make a response to it. I don't attend, but even other areas like, but I don't know the Honorable Ofonopondo was even fearing Ebola. But for purposes of I listened to the president, and to me, I saw two things in his speech. The first one was trying to create a narrative that created an enabling environment for everybody. That was the starting point. The second issue I saw, the president was trying to localize his vision, to move from him, because all along it has been about him, that this country was about President Museveni. That even when Honorable Ofonopondo does something, we will have to thank the president for having done something. The president made some admissions when he said, no more sleep, means they have been sleeping on the job. No more corruption. I'm going to unpack the corruption. I'm 82 years old. Of course, he was seeing the remaining gap that actually all leaders now must have a role to play. When I talk about localizing his vision, because before everything has been about him, because I'd killed all the institutions, now the corruption they talk about, they have been inflating the budget. And so we are passing a budget of 75 trillion. They are looking for one thing, spending 3% without parliamentary approval. But with the budget of 75 trillion or 80 trillion perform, the answer is no. And by the time they return, they will tell you we ran a cash budget. We did not realize 10 trillion when they've already got the 3%. So when he talks about the corruption, it starts with budget corruption. If you unpack classified, that's why they say for them they are not thieves, because for them they are stealing from that classified aspect.
Okay. You've listened to the president over the years.
Yes.
This is his 40th State of the Nation address.
Yes.
41st actually.
Constitution.
The State of the Nation address began after the 1995 Constitution, so it can't be. But however, he has been giving annual addresses to Parliament. Yes.
Is there a departure from the old now to the new Museveni?
The departure is in respect of now trying to localize his vision. That's no longer now about him. It's even Ofonopondo is involved. Because all along it has been him, and him. Now he's saying, look, I want Ofonopondo to go to his constituency. I want Atan to go to his constituency. I want Mo to go to his constituency. But what we need now to discuss as MPs, does Ofonopondo has a budget to do that? Does he have the CDF, the Coastal Development Fund, to go and do exactly what he's saying? Because the disorientation of the politics, which President Museveni has been doing, it has been the transactional politics. He has been engaging in with MPs. The other time you saw him in Chankwanzi saying, I've given you 100 million. You understand? Honorable Fono was in Kololo with him. Well, I would have got more votes than the 60. But people are saying, but you know, they have told us they're going to give us the 30 after the voting. So the 30 itself causes the problem, because now we are in transactional politics. That has not stopped only with the leaders.
That was given before the voting.
No, they had been promised. I think he told you at one point he received.
No, initially,
at one point he received.
the first batch
It was 100.
The first batch
After
20.
Chankwanzi 20 to prepare for swearing in.
Now the 30
Now,
was,
because you have election of a speaker,
they get
another facilitation of
30 years now.
I think he's going to give it to them in installments.
and whenever something corrupts up.
this is a bonanza.
But Simon, didn't you see me very smart? At the swearing in? Did you see me very smart?
So that was part of the facilitation.
The president said he was giving us for Kwena back. Yeah, and indeed I was. He didn't say it off camera. He said it on camera. So I can't read it what he said.
So, as I conclude, the transactional politics around the president is now he's sending OO to his constituency, but OO is going without money. What has been done in other areas? But for members of parliament, for instance, they have got the consignment fund, like in Kenya. But because at the end of the day, the budget process is simple. They issue a first call circular, and they send it to the technical people in the district. They have parish meeting to know the needs of an area. We make a budget. Then the budget is passed. The municipal process statement always has unfunded priorities. But it's telling to go to the people, and then people say, now we need a borehole, we need this, we need the other. Or at the end of the day, even when you talk to the public, they'll say, now we have listened to what you have said. Now you go to the real issue. The real issue is that now every leader must engage in the politics of economic foolery, of getting the money and then giving to them for something. Because the job of an MP, for instance, has no tangible performance indicators.
Thank you. I'll certainly get back to you. Honorable Tan, to what extent did the president set the tone of where he wants to take the country in the first year of his 7th term?
First, I want to put out my understanding of the State of the Nation address. In my view, the State of the Nation address and the budget are interlinked. The President last addressed the nation on the 5th June 2025, and he gave a State of Nation address preceding the last year's budget. And the President makes this State of Nation address, and resources follow the proposed program and plan of government. Where we are returning to Kololo on the 11th to have his budget read to us, which the outgoing parliament already concluded on. Now, a State of Nation address, I want to help a viewer to appreciate that it's annually. And I seen a member of parliament saying it is said twice in 5 years, it's annually. But what is said annually, in my view, should be giving us 3 clear parameters. One, where were we on the 5th June 2025? And then that program that has run for 365 days, funded, resources provided in the budget that is going to end, what has been its impact? Then after we get to appreciate that, tell us the program that we will do oversight on vis-a-vis the resources you took. Because if I am given liters of fuel to drive from Soroti East to Kampala, and I consume the liters of fuel, but I can't account for my journey of Soroti to Kampala or Kampala to Soroti East, there is something I'm not giving to the duty holders, the duty bearers. We are duty bound as leaders to give to the nation, the ones we serve, what exactly we are doing for them every year.
So was the president's address accounting?
One, I listened to the president and I am glad that I attended. There was a lot of baseline information from the 60s, the 70s, and I was waiting to hear what happened to the program in the last year's State of Nation address. It didn't come out clearly. I was waiting to appreciate the commitments he gave, because in the State of the Nation address, you're giving commitments. For instance, if I pick an example from Teso sub-region, there's this road of Katine to Ochero. There are many infrastructure commitments. There are also bills, but the way all went silent, I appreciate the need of us going commercial agriculture, the commitment of resources being available. But how much has been accessed?
Yeah, but can you imagine if the president tackled every aspect of the nation how long it would take him to address. It would take hours.
Then why would you address us on the history of 1967, 1970, the model farmer, Magaga, if I remember right, the mother and the late father to Fande Kavuma were brought in, which was a good. The mode of delivering this state nation.
There's another one who wears sheep.
Pardon?
There's another one who was also brought in, who wears sheep.
Yes. The mode of delivering this state of the nation with the video footages, the clips, fantastic. But my concern was, how does it relate to the appropriated resource envelope of the budget that is ending and the program you laid before the country in June 2025? That did not come out clearly. Neither will it come in the budget, because it should have been here. My understanding of the State of the Nation address, which we are going to debate under the rules of procedure, the Speaker and the Business Committee will schedule when we shall debate it. But I strongly feel, and I want to appeal to the head of state and the technical people, they should give the country a feel of what we have been able to do, because government is running on a budget annually. And maybe to tell us exactly, if you have a program, you have been appropriated resources, what have you been able to achieve and what is spending?
Thank you. What are your takeaways, and what do you make of the same fashion in which the president delivers the State of the Nation address?
I want to say the president has stayed true to who he is, the teacher, consistent, and using what the ordinary eye, the ordinary person will take, hopefully change the mind, because the president is driving a mindset. That's why he's using those local examples, and he gave examples from across the country, not every part of the country. So the State of the Nation address is really a snapshot of where we are at, what we are doing, where and how we should go forward. The president is doing what we call painstaking teaching of Ugandans, and particularly we now, the leaders in parliament. And I partly agree with the Honorable Muri. There has been a thinking among we leaders that leading and changing the country, transforming the country, is the job of the government. And in particular, the ones who are on the steering wheel, the NRM group. The opposition think that it is none of their business. For example, some of them, that when we budget money, although they chair accountability committees, they think it is not their job, for example, to go to my secondary school, my primary school in my village, in my parish, and call the DEO, call the headmaster, or ask the headmaster to convene a meeting of something as basic as management committee of the school, and say, here you receive so much money. Have you constructed the classroom for which you were given money? Instead, you hear us on the radios, on TVs, and on the floor parliament lambasting. But if you ask a number of MPs, which schools, which health facilities did you go to? Ask any of these MPs who say there are no drugs in government health facilities, and ask them which drug in particular is not at your health facility. They'll talk in general terms, and that's why the president was saying, I want you MPs. Because we are facilitated, I think, 4 times a month, We haven't, with the new ones, we haven't started going, but I'm told we are facilitated 4 times a month, every week, to go to your constituency. When you visit your constituency, do you go as a tourist? Or if you go twice a month, do you go as a tourist? Or you go to engage with the issues affecting your people? So this is where the president is.
When you listen to the president,
is rallying leaders, particularly we elected leaders in parliament, in the local council 5, local council 3.
When you listen to the president, he actually described this as Chisanja, no more sleep.
Yes.
In his submission,
yes,
in the text that he read to the country,
yes,
would you imagine he's setting the country on the course of flying or being awake?
He wants you to
fly. Oh, it was just rhetorical.
But if you can't fly, at least walk. Keep your eyes awake. See where the money is. Make correction where there is abuse, where there is wastage. So, if you say the state of the nation, the president told you, he gave you a continuum of the last 40 years. There are instances where he made reference to 1995. There are instances in that cattle corridor where he makes the reference to 1990 to 99. And you heard him talk about, for example, milk production, coffee production, beef production. He goes into manufacturing.
Yeah, but I thought essentially a State of the Nation address is to give accountability of what has happened over the year.
If you are simple-minded, you would do it year by year. But the president wants to weave. When he's talking, he's weaving through so that you don't lose where the thread has been needled, where the thread is needling. And there are many of us who think that the president should speak as if somebody who is leading a very developed system or society. The president is leading Uganda as is, so that you don't miss.
So how do you track what he promised last year with what he promises this time?
Like you and me, we read. Before today, did you refresh your mind with the last State of the Nation address? We are now going to read the next budget in a week's time. Are you refreshing your mind? What are those things that were promised, budgeted for in the last budget? And do those things in the budget speak to the National Development Plan 4 and 3? Do they speak to each other? And that's how you can understand and appreciate how the president presents issues to the country. In my view, his approach is a good approach. And where is the evidence? Over the last 40 years, Uganda has moved. In some places, of course, some places.
You have flown. You've seen even pilots coming to say hello to passengers. So we are at a period where you cannot afford to have a tired president steering a country. So that's one thing I noticed. Those who are in Kololo, Fonopona and Natan can tell me that maybe what I saw is not what was in Kololo. But what I saw on TV was a tired president struggling to be his old self. And then he said this is a Chisanja for no sleep at 82, 41 years in power. So at 82 is when you are saying no sleeping. At 82.
I find it ironical that you didn't focus on the substance. Instead, you're looking at...
That's the substance. That is the substance. Because he said we must put in all our energy. But he has lost no energy. The energy has lost. And that's why you see the son occasionally coming to say, the other day I saw Andrew Mwenda, who speaks for the son, he says, works, we are coming. KCC, we are coming. I say, they are coming as who? Maybe for them, they know more than us, that the man is now tired. So so the body was not speaking to the content. Someone telling everybody, I am tired of people who are not working.
I get nauseated.
Yes, that he didn't look like Museveni who was going to do the things he was saying. And then coming to the content of the speech. First,
No, before you even get to the content,
Yes.
do you imagine the president was painfully performing a ritual?
yes, if he had an option, I think he would. The other day I saw, it's been in the media, that state functions for which we budgeted for 29 billion, there will be no more ceremonies. The president will be speaking from State House. There are people who are celebrating, but me, I thought maybe because the president is tired. So even coming to functions, he's tired, so he can deliver them. And then the second thing, before I go to the content, Parliament is a very formal institution. Even Ofono Opondo of Chitengi, he must now buy a suit.
He's now donning Chinese.
And a tie. I think now he's trying to do the tie. And the president has addressed Parliament before, State of Nation address. This one was very casual. He looked like someone who was coming for an evening walk. Casual in the way he dressed, but even casual in the way he was addressing MPs, occasionally saying, you and so, you stand up, are you there? So and so. That never happened in the State of Nation address because there are ethics in Parliament. He looked like someone who had come on an evening walk and casually interacting with MPs who are limited because the setup in Parliament is such that you are formal, even if you want it or not. That's why some names even raise points of orders to chase people who are not dressed as the rules prescribe. And then the content summarized my fear. Lacked direction, because what Ofono Opondo is saying earlier, you have now the National Development Plan 4, which must align with the Vision 2040. There are programs there. You must have a checklist. You come and say, this is where we are, this is where we are going. Last financial year, that was the target, we have hit it. But the president spent the first 1 hour, and I've told you I watched from the beginning to the end, spent the first 1 hour cataloging the history of Ankole, where they were, because when he said...
And the transformation.
Yeah.
He talked about the transformation.
At that time, I went to Masaka Secondary School in 1992. The whole of from Diantoni to Mbarara was still a park near Kongolero. There were no people there. The people that Museveni started transforming in the 60s, 92, they were not there. The transformation of Ankole has happened when Museveni is the president. You can go back to UCB, where this guy from Bunyoro was a manager. Kajura. What did they do? They borrowed the money, put it under any part, they never paid the money. Then went and fenced their farms, the Senyenge was talking about. Partly was money from UCB. You can go back. Go and look at the report of any part. So the transformation, I am telling you, I was in Masaka Secondary, we used to go to Mbarara for seminars. Near Congo, the whole of that place, animals, which is now Lake Mburu. So that transformation has happened when Wanyankole have access to power and state money. The farms is talking about in Rwachitura. You need to go. I don't want to read the people's names here, they will be angry with me. But each farm has 4 government vehicles. They are the directors. The money they pick here, they just go and fence and buy Senyenga and do farms. It's not the ordinary people that have transformed. These ones who have access. I chaired the committee on Kosasi, and I did a report on human resource.
So you're now fact-checking the president's address?
I am telling you, the obsession with history, first of all, is not factual. It's not factual, because I visited Ankole as a young person, and I have visited Ankole today. It has really transformed because they have had access, consistent access to state resources. When I chaired Kosasi, I did the human resource, a report on human resource in public enterprises. The CEOs of all the public, 49% were from West, mainly Ankole. The northern Uganda had 9%, and then a few other areas with nobody. I come from Chazang. Weekend, you will see all government vehicles going there. and then you can take the northern road or even the eastern.
I think that's a very delicate issue.
It isn't. It has been an issue there. I remember Mukura raised it in one of the meetings, and Museveni said he has assigned in Sibambi to go and find out when the Museveni's performance either 2011 was poor in some areas, and Mukura said these are the issues in our area. He said no, this is not true. Then he assigned in Sibambi to go and find out. So the people from his area have and continues to have access to state resources that they are using to invest. Because how can you spend a whole hour and explaining to the country that people who have transformed because they listen to me are people in my area? Even when I went to Gomba, they also transformed. Okay, maybe we should invite him to come and I dig in Mukono to become his neighbor. That where he lives that's where transformation is, and that's now a site of pilgrimage. So the whole country now must go to Ankole and is calling. They are not listening to me. These ones in Ankole listening to me. How? Is he a king in Ankole or is the president of Uganda? 1 hour, a full hour.
But the president...
It's a history of how he has transformed his area, and he says other people are
There
not
are quite
listening.
a number of things perhaps you could have missed. He talked about the standard gauge railway. He talked
I
about
am coming to that. I said the first
oil
1 hour.
pipeline.
You are taking me at the terrible speed. I said the first 1 hour. First 1 hour. Were you watching?
Yes.
Me, I was watching. The first 1 hour was about how Museveni, Museveni, has transformed the Ankole to where it is. I have told you what has transformed the Ankole. The moment you take away state power, those farms, they are going to close them. I am telling you. This free money they pick and go and throw in their farms and buy cows. There is one who was a military general. 2 of them, one time we did a story in Monta. By late David Chibirige did a story, one of those generals. Say they used the Nyankole word, the Nyankole were complaining. Msaji agurenti no kuramuja takuramuja. One of those generals went in the market, and the way he was buying cows wasn't even negotiating with trucks and the roads. There is another one recently who went and started a farm of more than 3 billion shilling. And when Museveni asked him, he said he had gotten his money from Chinese, not UPDF money. So those are the prosperous Banyakore people that the president is spending 1 hour to explain how he has transformed them. And not a team in Ankole, but him personally. And then he brings an old woman. Said Museveni when he went to Chishaka, when he went State of Nation address, he's not addressing Ankole Parliamentary Caucus. That speech, the first 1 hour was for Ankole Parliamentary Caucus. Then when he came to the other things, they were neither here nor there. Spoke about agriculture. If you go to, in all the government reports, people who have access to improved seeds are 4%. Irrigation is still at 1%. You still have 65% of the population in agriculture. 39% household, that's about 14 million people. Museveni says they are not in money economy. Every year you give them 1 trillion and you pass a budget of 84. And then you're going to spend the State of Nation address speaking about how you have made the capital available, rural credit, how it is, where? I told you the last time we were talking about these things. In the report of the Auditor General, after 2 years, people who got money under PDM are supposed to repay after two years. The first 2 trillion is supposed to be brought back and begins to revolve. They have paid less than $1 billion out of 1,000 billion.
Out of a trillion.
Out of $1 trillion, they have paid only 1 billion. So there is no revolving fund in the parishes. They have to continue taking money there. When we are dealing with budget, the budget committee, the concern of all the MPs, those ones who bother, because the majority are just the NRM MPs. But those who bother to understand and read.
Don't bother. They don't understand.
The standards NRM are different. I was in Muru's campaign. He said for him, as long as you wake up and vote NRM, those are standards. So really, if your duty is just to vote and you're voting machine, you need to understand. Those are standards, he said. We were there, we met. For us, we are telling people who Busoga, bring him, who is a lawyer, is experienced, he will be our voice in parliament. He said, for me, bring me one, even if he sleeps, as long as he wakes up to vote. So I refer to NRM in that context of Onopon. But what was bothering MPs was that when you make money available in the parishes and in the villages, there must be a corresponding growth in tax collection, because you now have money available. So domestic taxes that you collect from consumption must go up. They were going down, instead it is international taxes that we are going high. And then the question was, this money you have distributed and is everywhere, and it must stimulate consumption. And as a result, taxes from consumption must be high. They are not there. So we said, where is the money? So maybe theory, the people are happy that you can line them. This money is not different from the money that is distributed during campaigns. People will eat it, and that's where it will end. It will not boost production.
Well, I'll certainly be coming back to you. I
had just finished the first 1 hour.
Yeah, but do you realize that you've also spoken like
I am sympathizing with the OO and Atan who went to Kololo.
Well, I'll certainly come back to you to analyze the second hour.
Yes.
Is the haggardness of the president a big issue for the country to focus on, like Semujju is raising it here?
Let me first respond to what Honorable Semujju says. The president is referring to Ankole only insofar as he was directly engaged from the early years and step by step. Since that year he's mentioning 1967, what is now visible on the ground. I'm saying if leaders in other parts of the country were to do something similar, and the president has been on record taking people to see not just Ankole, but other parts of the country where there is a bit of positive difference.
Yeah, but Semujju debunks it as a lie.
Is it a lie? For example, I have traveled more than Honorable Semujju, and I have traveled also in the country here more than Honorable Semujju. I know for a fact that in that area of Acholi, for example, the area of Lango, if you flew on a helicopter, by helicopter in 1990, in the whole of Acholi, probably you would see the late Otema Limadi's house. You would see the late the man who was a permanent secretary of Ministry of Education for a while. You would count either Mategura or Mabat houses in the whole of Acholi if you flew there those days, or if you just drove by the roadside, all the way from Kambdini to Gulu, which is by about 76 kilometers. You would hardly count more than 10 houses. No. So, go to Uganda today. Is there a part of Uganda, including hitherto feared Karamoja, is there a part of Uganda today where you say it is, you would be scared to invest in? You would say it is far, you can't live there. Why? Because of the incremental steps the administration of Yoweri Museveni has been able to create the ingredients for transformation. I can give you my own area of Toro, or in particular, West Budama. I grew up there. My father was one of the longest serving Saza chiefs. You'd hardly count Mabat houses there. There were Mabat houses with mud. Today, go there, you'll find homesteads that are better, perhaps, than some of those in Nigeria. You'll find water, you'll find electricity, either the hydro or new technology of solar. Yes.
I want to take you to my question. Semujju spent quite a lot of time dwelling on the stage of the president.
Of course, the president is 82. This is what he says himself, including today. You don't expect an 82-year-old man who has been working non-stop for the last 55 years, by his admission, by the writings that are available. You don't expect him. Did you expect an 82-year-old man to walk, to read, which means to present like a 28-year-old? Obviously, no. There's a toll on the physical energy of the president. Is he useless? Absolutely not. In fact, he's exceptional. To have an 82-year-old man who can still stand and read and talk off the cuff.
Can an 82-year-old awaken a sleeping nation?
Yes, it can. Maybe not physically, but if he's the one assembling the team, now it depends on the team he has assembled, because the president doesn't work alone. The team he has assembled, both the political side, including the opposition, because the president has structured Uganda's politics to have a robust opposition. Are they doing the job they're supposed to do to wake up the slumbering NRM people? Are they doing? Because when it is time when they're supposed to wake up slumbering NRM people, he's out. He's taking tea at the canteen instead of being in Kololo. Okay? The civil service, and I agree with the Honorable Semujju. There's, even when they are young, there's a sense in which I see inertia in the civil service, in the political service, and that's what the president is saying. Yes, at his old age, he's saying, I am tired of begging, pestering people to do the job they're supposed to do. Many of these ministries, people actually don't work. That thing of the Semujju said they have been passing money. I gave you my example. I said I did coffee. I had thought that those people in the Ministry of Agriculture would be happy that somebody of my level is doing. If you cannot serve somebody as known as Semujju, or as known as Ofono Pondo, for example, why should I trust that you are going to serve somebody who is small in the village?
So is the president likely to crack the whip this time? Unlike the usual way he says, this time I'm really serious.
Don't stand on the way of an old man. Because an old man now, he can crush you. And I hope he lives, but the president has been crashing. You know, over the years, how many people have been crushed who are marking time where the job is supposed to be done. He has done so. Now, it is, and that's why he's enlisting your support, that when he crashes a phone who doesn't do his job where he's deployed, let the phone not come and cry to you that you see he's crashing me because I'm a journalist. Then you support me because I'm a journalist like you. You have seen cases where people line up behind their tribesmen. When the president appoints them, they don't share their salary, their emolument with their tribe mate. But now when they are crushed, then you will find a time, everybody crying, why are you touching our muteso? Now that's what the president is enlisting your support. That please let me crush these people, these nothing doers. This is what he's saying. Let me crush and help me crush these nothing doers.
As someone who has handled communication, before I move to Honorable Batan,
yes.
Do you subscribe to the school of thought that the president's speech was light on content and loaded on trivia?
No. If the same things we are dealing with haven't resolved, we should repeat. And I keep giving you, Njana, this example. Christianity and religion, which many of you follow, modern religion, which many of you follow, the scripture is the same. Why? Because human nature is such that they have even defied God. God who created them, you have defied. You still fornicate, you still do all sorts of things. You still want to reap where you haven't sown. What's wrong with the president saying poverty is, because what are the issues? The president saying we are failing to transform. Should we abandon that message simply because Njana is going to say you are repeating? Have your priests abandoned the Bible? They haven't. Have the sheikhs abandoned the Quran? No, they haven't.
What is bothering me with Ofono, you see, Africa is in trouble. I saw people who are educated like Ofono,
Yes.
willing but Africa to the nomination center.
The
And
choice,
speaking the same way you're
no.
speaking.
The choice of whether the choice
beer.
The choice of
Educated
whether
people, younger people.
The choice of whether we want Museveni or want him to retire. First of all, rests with him, the person, the individual. Of course, there can come a time when NRM or Ugandans push him out. But first of all, the choice is his. Secondly, the second is his group, the NRM. Have they judged that he is incapable in our estimation?
Do they have an option?
They have an option. Would he kill them? If they said we don't want him, would he kill them? Would he kill all of them? Okay. No, he wouldn't. So you have, first of all, with the NRM and the Ugandans have made that choice. So we cannot blame the president who have made that choice.
Honorable Atan, when you listen to the president's speech, of course, Honorable Semujju picked out the nitty-gritty about how the president looked, how casual he was dressed. But does he give a projection of a country that is now waking up into serious business?
Well, I'm a positivist and I want to give a benefit of doubt, but with reservations. Why? Because if I give a builder material to build a house from the foundation to the ring beam, and then I come to expect the builder to account, and the builder has not reached the ring beam, I have reason to be disturbed and worried. What this country and the people we represent wished, in my view, they should have heard from the head of state how far we have moved from the last time he addressed the country. After that State of the Nation address, I went to Mulago, casualty ward, and I was trying to get to a relative who was involved in a motorcycle accident. Then I walked through Cancer Institute, and I imagined those patients and the conditions in Mulago, casualty ward, then Cancer Institute, as they listened to the head of the state address on the State of the Nation. And then my mind reflects on a farmer in Teso, Karamoja, which two sub-regions constitute about 60% of the cattle corridor of this country, where there is no effort like it was being testified on the other part of the southwest of the Nile. And then I imagine the NRM supporter who is in Teso, Karamoja, where they don't see these testimonies from the head of the state vis-a-vis their sub-region. Teso sub-region, Karamoja, 60% of the cattle corridor, nothing like a breeding center. And today we had a proposal, a program laid out to have irrigation schemes. But in the 80s, in the 90s, Teso had irrigation schemes. The potential that covers this country, and we have to take juice from as far as Egypt. They are depending on the Nile. We are underutilizing the Nile. We are underutilizing the water. And today we hear the proposal of irrigation schemes in Ngora, in Serere, in Bukedea. And the question I'm asking myself, when did we realize we need this? And I'm hoping that the next State of Nation address, after a year, the president will account and say, yes, we said we were going to do the irrigation scheme in Ngora. This is how far we have gone. In Serere, this is how far we have gone. In Bukedea, this is how far we have gone. We have also transformed the cattle economy in Teso sub-region and Karamoja. In comparison to the other part of the country, this is what has changed.
The president went every mile to show you how successful, for instance, PDM has been, the testimonies of people, the videos. Isn't that something that is plausible?
Well, I am privy to some reasonable information with regards to some of these testimonies. I remember one time the president was going to Kumi under the NADS program, and in Teso there is a tendency to leave goats to move. The technical people and security people collected goats around Kumi and took them to somebody's home, and the president went and saw a successful farmer. I am privy to even one of the testimonies today in Sironko. This person is a money lender. The security can do background check from Sironko. Is a money lender who is making money from